The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, so I want to thank you all for joining us today on our webinar on how to cut your multilingual DTP costs by 90%. My name is Stephanie Toomey and I'm the Business Developer Manager here at Rockhand. So I will be hosting today's webinar alongside a few of my colleagues who I will introduce in a few moments. So let's get started here. So here I have three numbers for you, 60, 8, and 1. So what do all of these have in common? Well, first of all, 60% of the companies that we as Rockhand work with here have on average 8 languages that they need to translate their marketing to. So some of our customers might have more, some have less, but on average, the top leading brands need brochures, pamphlets, any content that's written, produced 8 different times in 8 different languages, relating to 8 different cultures. So the biggest complaint that all of our customers have come to us with is that they have a high cost and a slow turnaround of DTP. So we've heard this from both our customers, from agencies and vendors that we've been working with. The biggest need right now really is to drive costs down. So that's what we're here to do today. So here we have a case study with Henkel. Before One2Edit stepped in, they were marketing to 32 different countries and translating into 25 different languages. So obviously you can see how localization was a critical business function here. So on top of that, they were also translating over 9,000 pages of content. So despite localization being this huge factor for not only their sales and also their marketing, they were still exceeding their budget limits, and they had a quality return that was not great enough for the budgets that they were exceeding. So they had high error rates, and with all the Q&A cycles they needed to fix, huge delays. So they had huge delays in not only printing of those documents itself, but in also some cases they had product update delays and also product launch delays. So this was a very complex situation. Maybe a little bit more complex than normal, but even with that, they were still able to save 90% of their budget. So they were able to cut DTP costs by 90% just by implementing One2Edit. So let's look at this on a little bit of a more detailed analysis. Here you can see that they were able to save 3/4 of their budget in layout and adaptation. So they are now spending 25% of what they were originally spending. And same with review and approval. 37% of what they were originally spending is now all that they are spending. Translation tasks as well came down to 57% of their budget. And overall, that leads up to 90%. So what does that look like in a dollar amount? They were able to save over $680,000 in their net savings. That's huge. So, I mean, if you want to be the guy to bring that to your boss, I know I would too. But so here to help me kind of tell you how can you do that, I have two of my colleagues here. I have Jerry Hurley here, the Director of Business Development from 1AO USA, and also Andrew Lawless, who is the CIO of Rockhand. So I'm going to hand the floor over to them. I think they want to say a few words, so we'll start with you, Jerry.
Great, thank you, Stephanie, and hello, everyone. So in today's webinar, you're going to learn a little more about One2Edit, and we're delighted to have a number of the world's leading brands already using One2Edit. The case study for Henkel was one of our early customers, and these have all come on board since then. And most recently, Microsoft and Daimler were particularly delighted with the work we're doing for them. So in the US, we've welcomed Rockhand as an implementation partner and already installed a number of systems together. So I'm delighted to be here to endorse their work in this webinar today. And Andrew, over to you and your team.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrew Lawless. I'm the founder and CEO of Rockhand, and I'm delighted that you're here. And I think you don't want to hear so much about myself, but about what One2Edit can do for you. And so I hand back over to Stephanie. So welcome, everybody.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Jerry, for your kind words. I know us here at Rockant, we've been very excited about One2Edit. Our customers have been thrilled. It's really a fantastic solution. But I will say no one has shown as much excitement about this as our own consultant here at Rockant, Miss Wendy Chang. So she is here. She has had plenty of experience in DTP the days before One2Edit as well as after One2Edit. And she keeps saying how excited she is about this. So here she is today to tell us a little bit about her own experiences as well as give us a short demo on what One2Edit is about. So I'm going to hand the floor on over to you, Wendy.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. So before we start the demo, I want to share my personal experience with you. This is an extreme case of the DTP process that I personally have experienced. So I used to be a project coordinator at the World Bank, and each October we launch an annual report for the bank. Annual report, as you might already know, it's an 100-page long report. So when you're doing a report, you don't want to translate 100 pages at one time. You divide in 20 pages, 30 pages, and you translate one batch. So, well, the workflow looks like, well, you go through translation, but then you also have translation, revision, proofreading. And then on top of that, when you go to DTP, you have 20 page of DTP, you have 20 page of translation, you have 20 page of revision. So you don't really know where you are, and you go through different rounds of DTP with different languages. Usually you have 8 languages. That means you have 8 projects that you need to handle, and each language requires different workflows. Let's say Japanese may need 2 more days. Spanish can do it in 2 weeks. Then you end up have Japanese needs 8 rounds of DTP, Chinese needs 12 rounds of DTP. Every time a typesetter sends you back an updated PDF, you have to contact your in-country reviewer, and that's for one language. So you have to do 8 times per day or 8+ times per day. You lose track of everything. You have Excel tracker, but you still don't know where you are. You open your email box, you get frustrated, like who is delivering what? So every time when I handle annual reports, I always wonder if there's a better way to handle DTP projects, then all the project managers will have a better life. They can sleep well.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, Wendy. So as you can see, with workflows that I'm sure you guys are familiar with, even in the most extreme cases, there's just so many rounds and rounds of DTP runs, and it almost just seems endless. So actually what we want to do right now is we're going to take a poll, and what we want to know is how many DTP runs do you have on average? So we're going to wait for I think we're launching the poll now, so we're going to wait for some of the answers to come on in. In the meantime, as we do so, I would like to take a look at the workflow that Wendy just described after implementing the One2Edit. So after implementing One2Edit, you can see in a hot second.
Yeah, we need to wait for the poll because you cannot show both right now. So
all right.
That's the people are responding to the poll with very interesting results. We will share that in a moment. So I would say let's give the team
all right.
A minute, and we can already see that we have a number of people that have like more than 5 QA cycles. And that's what we see when we talk to customers or people that are interested in the solution all the time, and that's vendors and buyers of localization services alike. That when Wendy tells a story, everybody can relate to that. So I think what I'm seeing here is like most of the poll numbers are in. Mm-hmm. So I will close the poll and share with you the results. And here you can see it's like most of you have like 2 or 3, but we have a rather large number that have more than 5 review cycles. And that may also be language or country dependent. Sometimes it's even because we have a legal review on top of a linguistic review and DTP review. So very interesting numbers. Thank you very much. So Steph, back to you.
Thank you guys. So as you can see, we have some people with 2 or 3, and as Andrew said, 5. But one of the really great things about One2Edit is what we were talking about before, is the workflow that Wendy just described is almost cut by 2/3 of it is almost gone, which is fantastic. You know, that really shortens up the whole run, and it 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 makes you feel like you're cutting costs right there. So what we want to do now is exactly how can we do this for you. So I'm going to hand this back over to Wendy, and she's going to show us a short demo of One2Edit. And in the meantime, if you guys have questions during the demo, just if you would like to submit them into the comment box. I have Andrew and Jerry here looking at the questions and keeping tabs on them. And what we'll do is at the end, we'll do a Q&A session where we'll address all those questions. So handing this over to you, Wendy. Hold on 1 minute.
Almost there here, guys.
Hold on 1 second.
Little bit of a mix-up here. Hold on, almost there.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we do it with One2Edit? So this is what you're gonna see when you first log in to One2Edit as an admin. As you can see under the project, we have different InDesign files. What you need now is only an InDesign file, and this InDesign file will be your project. So here, this is your English Master InDesign file. And you know, well, with our traditional DTP process, we usually have to prepare the file first. It's either a project manager or a translation agency. They have to convert a PDF to a Word file or create a bilingual table, or they have to extract text from an InDesign file. With One2Edit, you do it in 2 minutes. And how do you do it? You go to Project, and you go to Translation. You export the file for translation. So One2Edit will create an XML file for translation. With that file, you don't need to do anything. You simply send it to your translation vendor, and you're done. You will be waiting for the translation to come back. So here you cut out all the file preparation time and all the money you're gonna spend on file preparation. And once the translation is back, once the translated XML file is ready, you become your own typesetter. How do you become your own typesetter and do not have to learn InDesign? That's the magic of One2Edit. You go to Project again, Translation, import that translated XML file from your translation vendor. And right here, One2Edit is gonna create a different language version for your project. So as you can see now, we have a French version and a German version of this English Master InDesign file. So right here, you cut out all the DTP process. You don't have to wait 4 or 5 working days and ask your typesetter to export a PDF for you, and then you send it out for review. You get your translation InDesign file right here. And let's say, well, now I'm a reviewer. I want to review this translation. How do I do it? We go to the Job tab, and you will see a list of jobs that are assigned to me. And let's go to the project that we just saw. So I'll simply click on Edit. And once you edit, it's gonna magically create a language version for me. For demo purpose, we are gonna use English, but with the real case, it's gonna be a language version. So it looks exactly like the PDF you're gonna see, but please note this is an InDesign file. So you are actually working on an InDesign file without having to learn how to use it. And how do I edit in One to Edit? It's very straightforward. If you move around your cursor, everything that can be highlighted, you will be able to edit. I'd say we want to edit this title. We simply click on the title and you will get a translation window. Here is where you're gonna type your edits. Once you are satisfied with your edits, what you can do is you simply click on this check mark, hit apply, and One to Edit will apply your change right here, right away, so you can see it in real time if your edits fit or not. And please note it is also possible to work with your own translation memory with One to Edit. If you go to your right hand side, there is a globe icon that says translation. Click on this icon. You can see for this particular job, it is connected with One to Edit translation. And there are two German translations that are being proposed by One to Edit. Let's say, for example, I am happy with the first one. So I select this German translation. I hit apply. The German translation will automatically be input here in your editing window. You look over your translation and you think everything looks fine. Again, click on the check mark, apply your translation. You can check your title to see if it looks good to you. And now I think, well, it doesn't look pretty because this second line should not be right after the first three words. So I want to make another line. How do I do it? You come here, press enter, now again click on apply. Now you have a new title with the correct layout. So without going back and forth with your PM, with your typesetter, you see something doesn't fit, you fix it right away, and One to Edit shows you right away. How about images? Can we edit images in One to Edit as well? Yes, we can. And it's relatively straightforward as well. Let's move to this orange picture. I'd say, well, today I don't think this orange picture fits my country's culture. I want to change it. I'll simply click on the picture. An image editor will show up. We click on replace. Go to the folder and choose the image you want to replace with. So today, I think mangoes match my culture better. So I choose mangoes, click on replace. Now you get a mango picture, but maybe the mangoes are too big. You can resize your mangoes, move around your mangoes until you think, oh, my mangoes look good on this page. And you click on apply.
There's a little bit of a system delay there with GoToMeeting, but we're here. Good.
Mango's coming. So now we have a mango PDF with your perfect German title. And once you're done with your review, you think everything is good, you mark the orange question mark to the green check mark. Well, this step is important because once you mark this as done, it will push this job to the next workflow, so the next person can work on this job. And so assuming we are fine with everything here in our file, we can simply click on Save, and then we will close the document.
So Wendy, I have a question.
Yes.
Because I already see here in German, as a German-speaking person, I would want to make some edits to this translation. So I would be the next person in line, and I would use the same interface. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's close the document. And then you're done with your job. Without all the PDF-based review, without being back and forth with your PM and with your typesetter, you do everything here in one to edit. And we reduce all the QA cycles. The last step, when you're done with your project, normally you have to wait for your typesetter to export your InDesign package for you. Then you can send to a printer. And depending on where your typesetter is located, let's say your typesetter is located in a place where internet is not stable, you can wait up to 24 hours. But with one to edit, you get your InDesign package within 2 minutes as well. You select the version that you want. Again, you go to Project, you do Export Document, and you can see under this Export tab, there are different items you can select. For printing, we would like to have a full package, so the printer can use the InDesign file for printing. And you just click on InDesign document, click on Export, and you get your final package right away. And also, if you don't want to come in and do it manually, we can set it up in one to edit. One to edit will send you an automatic email notifying that the InDesign file package is ready. And with the link, you can just click on the link, download your InDesign package. So from this demo, as you can see, one to edit allows you to do your job more efficiently and also with a higher quality delivery. With that conclusion, I'll give the floor back to our Stephanie.
And this is Andrew also. We have a number of questions here, which we will answer in a few minutes. But just wanted to, we have the questions and we're all prepared to answer them. And we're just less than 4 minutes.
Thank you. Took the words right out of my mouth, Andrew. So let me come back to presenter view here in one moment. I think Wendy's on that. So in the meantime, thank you, Wendy, very much for that. So after seeing that demo, what we want to do next is we're actually going to launch another poll. So it seems like based on some of the last answers that you guys gave, so for those of you who might have 3 to 5 different DTP runs, this seems like it could be useful for you. But what we want to know now is, after seeing the demo, exactly how much of your budget do you think that your company could save by using one to edit? So what we're going to do now is take maybe 30 seconds to a minute just to let the poll come on in. All right, looks like we have some answers so far. Seems a lot of you. Oh, they're still coming in. Seems as if we have a lot in the middle ground here, which is always great to see. All right.
So votes are still coming in. Just wait like 10 more seconds. So if you haven't voted yet, do it now.
It's like Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Lock in your answer now.
And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 second. We are done. And here is what you've responded.
So it looks like we got a nice 50-50 split here. But good to see that we have, at least half of you in this webinar can see you saving 50 to 75% of the budget. And that's really what One2Edit's strength is really just saving budget here. So with that being said, I just want to review some of the, we're exiting out of the poll here. And waiting for my screen to pop up again. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a little bit more difficulty in the screen showing here. All right. We're good? Okay, so now we can see.
No, we cannot see. So I will.
Oh, no, now we can.
In the background.
In the background. Here we are.
There we go.
Thank you. So I just want to review some of the top 4 points that that Wendy touched upon as well. So really, as you saw in the demo, where you're getting the most savings is from eliminating the many review cycles that we talked about earlier. I mean, you're no longer handling multiple different files from all those different vendors and hunting through your email to see, who sent you what and what's in what stage of reviews, etc. And so One2Edit really just organizes all of that for you. Consequently, what you're doing is you're reducing your project management time, really just freeing up that time to focus on meeting all those other project deadlines and, of course, the numerous projects that we know project managers have on their plates. So consequently, in turn, you're eliminating a lot of the thousands and thousands of DTP runs on typesetting and layout and things like that. So how can you do this? What's the next step to ensure that you can meet these 4 savings? Is really for a free 30-minute scoping session with us at Rockhand. So you can do that in one of 3 ways. You can either go to our Rockhand website, and so that's www.rockhand.com, and there you'll see all of our other services as well. And you can check out our page on One2Edit. The second way that you can do that is by emailing me directly at stephanie.toomey@rockhand.com, and that way we can answer some of the more specific company questions that you might have for your organization, and also schedule out a free time for you. And of course, the easiest way, and the good old-fashioned way, is just to pick up the phone and give us a phone call. We're always happy to hear from you. So with that being said, I'd like to open up the floor to the rest of our colleagues here, Jerry, Andrew, and Wendy, and take some of the questions that you guys either submitted during the demo or would like to submit now. So I'm just going to open up the floor.
Yeah, we have a number of questions. Amazing.
Yeah, I see that.
So, and I just go here by a sequence. So how they came in, order of sequence, how they came in. So the first question is, and Jared, is for you. Which design file formats does One2Edit handle?
Great. So yes, that's nice and easy. The standard InDesign document format, and it can be submitted along with or as part of a full package file with the fonts and the high-res images if you wish to have those in place. They do, of course, take up more space, but that's a balance of context versus detail.
Great. And by the way, if you have follow-up questions to those answers, put them in the question box also, and we will we answer them. So the next question is, does that extract flat text as well?
Should I take that? Yes. So, well, the XML file is one of the extract options, and it does, of course, have flat text in it. You can also choose to go to an Excel spreadsheet format.
Right, so here's a question from images, pictures. This is ICSI, so not.
I think it's an extension of the previous question.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then the question is like, does that extract?
Oh, I'm sorry. So yes, so
from images and
right,
pictures.
so, right. So absolutely, if we put those two together, yes, the whole point of the translation job file, that extract, is to separate the text for translation from the pictures. But as you saw in Wendy's presentation, we do also enable the replacement of pictures, images with country-specific localized versions.
Great. Next question. Does One2Edit create an FML file? Just want to make sure we heard you correctly.
No, that's an XML
Should
file.
Be XML, right?
An XML file.
Yeah. So that's X not F as in Frank, XML. Next question. Is there any way to track who makes each edit?
Yes, it is possible. So in Want to Edit, there is a history section, and it will show you who made what changes and when.
Yeah, so you have a complete audit trail, and of course there are a lot of issues in the background, not issues, functionalities in the background that we haven't showed you yet, such as the workflow capabilities, the setting up the content rules on the document level, and if you schedule a 30-minute scoping session with us, we'll be happy to go into more detail also with regard to your specific need. Here's a long question. So, do the overall savings assume perfect readiness of the source InDesign file for translation? Not pixelized text on graphic, consistent styling, white space for language swell, no mid-sentence line breaks that trip up translation, etc. Or are there savings adjusted to reflect source file engineering prep before translation?
Well, let me take that as obviously in an ideal world, the InDesign file would be perfect. This question reflects the reality out there that InDesign files don't always come in perfectly prepared for translation. And Want to Edit does have some capabilities that directly address that issue. For example, it's possible on a document level to allow the reviewers, the DTP reviewers, to change the size of the text frame that a text segment is placed into or comes from in the first place. And that can be very helpful for resizing text frames. In the content rules, we can allow the compression or expansion, but compression is more often required, of text to fit. For more verbose languages, such as German, that's often necessary. So in an ideal world, the InDesign document frame would allow for that space, but the product is designed to bridge some of those issues.
Yes, and in our implementations, what we find is that almost in any time, we need to go back to the source, to the creative teams, and work with them, educate them on localization, on DTP for localization. And what it does, it actually improves their overall performance and is another aspect of accelerating the DTP process, because you're not dealing with a number of issues that originate in the source file. Yeah, but that's a very good question, and it does require some communication with the creative teams. But usually once we go through the implementation, feed it back to them, show them what the impacts are, then it's a smooth ride from there. Next question is, so this task should be assigned straight to the translation stage, meaning that this almost replaces the DTP unless the designers know the target language. Or in any case, what would be the best timing to place this task in our translation process? I'm not quite sure what this task means right now in this context. Is it the DTP task when we are starting DTP?
Well, I think maybe if I can give an answer that may not be the perfect answer for the question or a specific situation, but absolutely the goal here is to automate the positioning of the translated text into the layout so that the reviewer sees the job ready for final review. We didn't actually see a full in the demo this afternoon. We didn't see that specific workflow, but that is the common use case.
And Want to Edit has an extremely flexible workflow engine. In reality, it really also depends on the business needs of the end customer as well. That's part of the implementation process, is exactly look at what are the ins and out of Want to Edit within the overall production and approval process. Here's a question. What if you cannot do the self-editing and review yourself? I assume that means we have those situations that reviewers, they can make change suggestions, but they cannot implement those changes. Yes, Want to Edit has that capability. Wendy, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So there is a note function in Want to Edit, which is very similar to PDF annotation. So you can only add comments instead of editing it in the editing window that we just showed you. The reviewers will have restricted right in Want to Edit, so they can just add notes, and the person in the next step will be reviewing the notes from the reviewer and implement all the changes in the translation.
Thank you. Can the font size be changed while editing?
We already touched on that. Yes, you can enable rules that permit that, and of course you may choose not to.
Can you please recap the purpose of the XML file? What role does it play in the process?
So this is addressing those situations where there is an external translation agency, and that translators there typically prefer to work with their own translation tools such as Trados and so on. So the XML file allows them to do that without needing to be part of the Want to Edit workflow. But equally, there are many of our customers that choose to give the translators the place in the Want to Edit workflow, and they do their translation in context online directly into the InDesign document.
What versions of InDesign are supported?
So we're right through all of the most recent versions. Typically when Adobe comes out with a new Creative Cloud version, we have some work to do, but I think we're up to date on that at the moment.
Is the tool web-based?
And that's an absolute yes. So just to emphasize, expand on that a little, it's web-based using a Flash plugin for all modern browsers. At the server end, we take care of the fonts and the images and the hosting of the InDesign documents. So only the project manager has to deal with that. The actual participants in the workflow, translators, editors, reviewers, are connecting via a web browser.
Does Want to Edit support right to left?
Yes. So actually, I'm sorry, not the right to left. We will support the Asian languages, but Hebrew and right to left languages are a problem.
What TMS does Want to Edit support?
So we come with our own TMS. There is an internal translation memory, and that can be synchronized with standard formats. TMX is an XML translation exchange format. So any tool that supports that, we've been working for quite some time with SDL Trados, but other ones have come along more recently and been very fine using our XML export and import features.
And here's my very good friend, Joe Didamo. How does the tool compensate for language growth? So Joe sent us another question and clarify that. What exactly?
Well, I think we can take that to mean the use case, for example, of German, where we need more space for the language. So we've touched on that already.
Yeah, that's language expansion. Okay. So, and we have more questions here, but really just time for just one. And Joe, I'm always waiting for you. You know that. As I said, do the locked layers in InDesign show up as locked? In that case, we don't need an editor to move, touch, image, or text boxes.
Right. So the InDesign, the Want to Edit interface presents the InDesign layers as they are. I believe that includes locked ones. But in any case, our access to what can be changed by the translators, reviewers, is entirely controlled by what we call content groups. So you can map a layer to a content group, or you can manually select elements to be in the content group for translation.
Great. So thank you very much. So we are at the end of this webinar. Stephanie?
So, real quick, it seemed like a lot of you guys had a lot of questions about the branding aspects of the one-to edit. So I just want to let you guys know about another free webinar that we will be hosting next Thursday, same time, so 1 p.m., all about beating the multilingual branding battle. So all of your design questions, branding questions that we brushed a little bit on today will be analyze and really go into depth the next week. So I highly encourage you guys to register for that. I will be sending out an email that will have all the details and the registration link in that as well after the webinar. So definitely look forward to that. And for those of you who have those questions, I hope to see you next Thursday. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of your questions. And again, here's our contact information if you missed it. Feel free to shoot me an email, give us a call, what have you, and we'll see you next Thursday. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Bye. Have a good day.